What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Saudi Arabia. We have Israel Adesanya going against Nasruddin Imavov, and we are right back after it after a week off here. And yeah, good card. Really good card. It has taken some hits throughout the week, but still 11 fights, 11 solid fights. We had an early start time, which I'm looking forward to as well, and looking forward to hopefully keep the ball rolling. Up, I think, 5 units in the first week of 2025, up 6 units in the second week, and let's see if we can keep it going here. Some spots sticking out. Not my favorite betting card in the world, but as always, some plus money spots sticking out. Have a Hail Mary parlay as well that I'll give out too. So yeah, looking forward to breaking it all down. Before we get into it, if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All three of those things go a very long way. If you guys do want to support me more, the best way to do so is check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my other content, early bets, articles, stats, you name it. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. And then also check out Prize Picks. Right now on Prize Picks, we have a free square. Got to take advantage of these free squares, and the free square for next week is going to be Patrick Mahomes to get 1 passing yard. I think he does it. Get that free square in for this week, and also use code DFSBTN. If you use that code and you place a $5 entry, you'll get $50 free into your Prize Picks account. So use that code DFSBTN, get yourself a free $50 on Prize Picks, and then get that free square in there. All right, with all that out of the way, I say we get into it here. We're going to start with the first fight of the card. We got Jamal Pogues going against Hamdi Abdelwahab, and these are just fights I don't bet on. We got a straight pick'em here, and it probably should be a straight pick'em. It's going to look like a straight pick'em. I just think it's one of those classic greasy split decision type heavyweight fights where I could see Hamdi Abdelwahab potentially having some success early, but this guy's coming off of a massive layoff due to like a ton of steroids. We haven't seen him in forever. I don't trust his cardio. I don't trust his striking. But yeah, he has some power, has some ability to get it down to the mat. But I think Hamdi's going to have a little success early. But as the fight goes on, I kind of trust Pogues more, to pump out that jab. And I just expect it to be a very, very close decision, split decision even. So I don't really see a need to put money on a fighter one way or another. As terms of a pick, I am leaning Jamal Pogues. More active, the better striker, I think a little bit better cardio. I think he has a wrestling background, should be able to keep the fight standing potentially. So yeah, give me Pogues here, but with no confidence, and quite frankly, nobody should be confident in this trash first fight of the night. Moving on, we got Bogdan Grad going against Lucas Alexander. So very fun fight here. So this is a fight that's kind of frustrating for me because I missed the plus 170 on Alexander. He's like plus 170, plus 180 last week. By the time I looked into it, the dude was like plus 120, and now all of a sudden he's minus 120. What I will say is Lucas Alexander did miss weight this morning or last night, which that's the second consecutive weight miss for Alexander. I don't love that. And it's one of those fights where you can make a case for both sides in this fight as well. With Alexander, I think he's the more skilled striker, more defensively responsible. But, with Bogdan Grad, you have those intangibles in terms of he has a ton of heart, a ton of toughness. He's a walking punching bag, but he's going to come forward. He's going to dish out volume. He has good cardio. So I think there's cases to be made for both sides. I know a lot of people like the under in this fight. I think it maybe could finish potentially. I just really hate the price tag on it, to be honest. It's a featherweight fight. The finish rates for featherweights aren't great, and I'm kind of leaning like an Alexander decision. But yeah, this is another fight where I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one, because this one will be a very fun fight. I think this has potential to be one of the better fights on the card, but in terms of putting any money on it, probably going to stay away, especially after missing the Alexander line by a country mile. Moving on. We got Jasudavicius going against Mara Bueno Silva, and this is actually the least likely fight to end inside the distance, but I kind of think it's, has sneaky finishing upside here on both sides, really. So the way I played it was, last year I bet Jasudavicius to win by second and third round knockout in both the Priscilla Cachoeira fight. It was the first card of the year in 2024, and it was plus like 2,000 for round 2 KO, plus 3,000 for round 3 KO. The fight could have been stopped at any time. The ref, I don't know what the ref was doing, but Jasmine ends up subbing her in the third round against Cachoeira. I do the same thing against Ariana Lipski, right? I bet the KO 2-3 at massive numbers. The ref very well could have stopped the fight, and then Jasmine subs her. This time, I'm not messing around with the KO because I think there's like no chance she subbed Silva, but I also thought there wasn't a chance she subbed Lipski. So I'm just taking Jasmine 2-3, no method. And I think it's very live here, and we'll kind of talk about why. But yeah, Jasmine round 2 plus 1,600 for a quarter unit. Jasmine round 3 plus 2,000 for a quarter unit. I was not expecting those to be that wide, especially with how dominant Jasmine's been looking. And she will get on top of this fight, and she will have opportunities. The other bet I placed in this fight was a bet I feel like holds a ton of value. It's Mara Bueno Silva by submission. I got it at plus 700 for a half unit. That's literally her money line, in my opinion. I don't see her winning a decision. I really don't. I don't see her winning a decision unless Jasmine just came out there with the most dumb game plan ever and struck with her for 15 minutes. I think Jasmine will wrestle, and I don't see Mara Bueno Silva knocking out Jasmine either. So I think Mara Bueno Silva by submission at plus 700, where I got it, I think I see it at plus 750. I think that's her money line. So 1 unit total invested in this fight, looking for some violence on some very big numbers. Of course, I do think the most likely scenario is Jasmine and Jasmine by decision. It's minus 180, which is by far the most juiced decision prop on the entire card by a ton. But yeah, I think there's certainly going to be opportunities. I think Mara Bueno Silva is going to attempt a few submissions like she always does. And then I think Jasudavicius, if she can get into a dominant position, we could see her rain down ground and pound. So yeah, I think a finish is very sneaky here. Moving on, we got Mike Davis going against Ziam. This fight is giving me like weird vibes here. So I just feel like this line should be so much wider, and which means I should be probably betting the Mike Davis side here, but a ton of people are on Ziam. This line has came down a ton. I saw Mike Davis at like minus 230, minus 240 last week, now down to minus 140. I'm not sure what's going on. Is Davis coming in here with an injury? I know a lot of people are on Ziam. A lot of people are very high on Ziam, but this is significant line movement here. But yeah, the reason I think Davis should be a bigger favorite is on the feet. I think it'll be close, competitive, maybe even favor Ziam. But Davis higher volume, a lot more power, and then on top of that, Davis just has a clear path to victory, and that's the grappling. Ziam's been submitted 3 times, and we can say that Ziam's made improvements with his takedown defense, his grappling, which I think he has. But it wasn't too long ago the guy got insta-tapped by Terrence McKinney, and it also wasn't too long ago where Claudio Poyas took this guy down like 7 times. So for me, I'm just getting weird vibes. I feel like Mike Davis at minus 140 might be too good to be true. So what I did is I ended up staying away from the money line, but I did play the sub. I got to play the sub here. Half a unit plus 550 for Davis to win by submission. BJJ black belt. Huge wrestling upside. Ziam can't stuff a takedown. Ziam's been subbed a lot. I think Davis by sub is how I'm attacking it, but yeah, I don't know. Interesting fight. We'll see what happens. Next, we got Terrence McKinney going against Damir Hadzovic. Yeah, I think it's a great spot for McKinney. It's not too often we'll see McKinney as a minus 500, minus 600 favorite in the UFC, but I think in this matchup it kind of makes sense. Am I laying minus 600 on him? No, but there are some spots I do like. First and foremost, I love the under. Terrence McKinney, 10 UFC fights, 10 unders. I mean, Terrence McKinney unders are just going to keep on hitting. Eventually, maybe he goes over, but I don't think that's here. And so I like the under. I have it in my Hail Mary parlay, the 4-leg parlay that I'll give out at the end of the video here. So I think it's a great leg, great parlay leg. What I also have is I have the fight won't start round 2. Minus 122 for 1.25 units. I think that line's very generous. I think this is going to be a car crash, and I think McKinney's going to make this look pretty easy. So yeah, fight won't start round 2, minus 122. I think it's a really good line. And then I also like the McKinney to win by first round submission, plus 220. I have a half a unit on it. And the reason being is Hadzovic has the worst takedown defense, not in the division, but in the UFC. And then also, I think McKinney takes him down, takes his back, and chokes him out here. So yeah, I like McKinney sub 1. I like the fight won't start round 2. I like the under 1.5. I think anything violence here makes a lot of sense. So you're looking for violence in this one. Next, we got Shamil Gaziev going against Thomas Petersen. Big, massive, giant pass here. What I will say is maybe a live bet on Thomas Petersen. I think Gaziev's live to knock out Petersen early on. Petersen's been knocked out before by a guy with no power and Waldo Cortez Acosta. So yeah, maybe Gaziev round 1 KO. But if this fight reaches the second round and you're laying minus 330 on Gaziev, I think you're going to be very upset about it, because this guy has about 7.5 minutes of cardio, and I can see this Gaziev slowing down massively as the fight goes on if he doesn't get a finish. So maybe like a live bet on Petersen, but other than that, this fight's gross and I want nothing to do with it. Moving on, we got Muhammad Naimov going against Khan Ofli. So Muhammad Naimov is the next leg in my 4-legger on the money line. I think he wins this fight. And the thing about Naimov is I'm not high on the guy at all. I think he couldn't be any more overrated, but in this matchup specifically, I really like this matchup for him. Because what is Con Ofli going to do? Is he going to take him down, control him, win a decision? I don't think so. He's going to take him down and sub him? I don't think so. Is he going to outstrike him? Absolutely not. And I also think Muhammad Naimov is very, very live for a knockout. The guy has power. We just saw Ofli go out there and get sparked against Marion Santos in the second round. A brutal, brutal knockout loss, and that fight wasn't that long ago. So I think Naimov by knockout's a good look. I have a half a unit on that knockout prop at plus 255. Was hoping for a better line, but dude hits like a truck, and Ofli, I think, is at a significant disadvantage on the feet. So Muhammad Naimov by knockout, half a unit, plus 255. Then I also have Naimov in my 4-leg Hail Mary parlay. Moving on to the next fight, it is Said Nurmagomedov going against Vinicius Oliveira. And yeah, I think this is a very generous line here on Said Nurmagomedov. I think Oliveira, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about him yet. You know, is he legit? Is he not? Because you go back and watch his Bernardo Sopai fight, the dude was getting dominated for 8.5 minutes. You know, borderline almost got finished. Like, the fight could have been called. He could have been finished by Sopai if drunk Keith Petersen stopped the fight. And then, yeah, Sopai gassed out, which is expected. Sopai took the fight on a couple days' notice. And then in the Ricky Simone fight, it's like he looks okay. He wins the fight, and it's really not competitive. But I think Ricky Simone's completely washed at this point. So it's like, I don't know, if he's able to beat Said Nurmagomedov, like, yeah, the guy's the real deal then, but he's got to do it first. You know, Said Nurmagomedov, very good striking, and he doesn't wrestle as much as he really should, but when he does wrestle, he can wrestle, and he's good at it, and his grappling is extremely high level. So I just feel like Said has a lot more ways to win this fight. He has a ton of power, he has that spinning back fist, the spinning back elbow, the kicks, a ton of power in him, and then he also has a very, very, probably one of the best opportunistic submission games in the division in Said. So I like Said Nurmagomedov. He is also in my 4-legger. And then I also have Said Nurmagomedov inside the distance at plus 275 for a half unit. That line has came down quite a bit, and I think that has to do with Vinicius Oliveira being finished in all of his losses. Vinicius Oliveira is a killer-be-killed fighter, and he leaves a ton of openings, and I can see like a spinning back fist or a spinning back elbow or something landing. And of course, if Said grapples, I think you can tap him out as well. So I like Said. And I even think the money line is a good look. I know a ton of people are on Oliveira. You know, a ton of people liking the hype on Oliveira. I'm just not completely sold yet. So we'll see. It's a big, giant test, and is toughest test by a mile, in my opinion. Next, we got Sergey Pavlovich going against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Nothing sticking out here. I think this fight plays out one of two ways, and I think it really comes down to how Pavlovich approaches this fight. If we see the old Pavlovich where he comes forward, he bum rushes you and tries to get you out of there, this fight's ending in 60 seconds, right? If we see a conservative Pavlovich, which I think would be just a terrible idea, I mean, he probably loses this fight by a 15-minute terrible decision, and Rozenstruik wins it. So I'm kind of more so leaning and chalking up that Volkov fight to, hey, they were buddies, you know, they've trained together. And also, Pavlovich was coming off of a brutal knockout loss. Maybe he was hesitant, and that hesitancy, you know, cost him the fight, and he looked awful, and it was a really easy night for Volkov. I think Pavlovich is going to get back to his old ways, come forward, make this a car crash, and I favor Pavlovich in that car crash. So I think Pavlovich by first-round knockout, but they're all over. I thought we might get a discount on the under, on like a Pavlovich KO1, just because Pavlovich did go 15 in his last fight. Rozenstruik went 15 in his last fight, but the under 1.5 is like minus 200, and I can see that just ending very poorly. So yeah, it's a pass fight for me, but the pick is Pavlovich. Next, we got Michael Paige going against Shara Magomedov. I do have a bet that I like here quite a bit. I think it's a clear dog or pass spot. I just don't see in what world Shara Magomedov ever looks anywhere near minus 180 in this fight. And the crazy thing about saying that is he probably wins just due to the fact that I see this being very close. We're in Saudi Arabia. This guy's undefeated. This guy's a ton of hype. This guy has star potential. I can just see Paige getting robbed. And you shouldn't cap fights based off of that, but that's the thing. So I think Michael Paige moneyline has a ton of value. I think it's going to look like a pick'em at worst. Michael Paige is impossible to hit. Shara is very, very easy to hit. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think it's going to be a split decision. I think there's value on the dog. But the play I do like is, and I like these plays here or there, but it's the Michael Paige points handicap plus 3.5, which means he has to win a total of 3 rounds on all 3 judges' scorecards, which means that if Shara wins the fight, but wins it 29-28, the bet cashes. And I like that quite a bit because I could see Michael Paige winning the fight, but the judges are like, oh, Shara got it done. So I could definitely see something like that where the point spread bet cashes, but Michael Paige does not because of the judges. They're crooked, they're corrupt, and I could see something along the lines of that. So yeah, that's minus 140 right now. I got it at minus 150 thinking that was an incredible line, like thinking, hey, Paige needs to win literally one round, but it's minus 140 now, so it's gotten better. So I'm on that for 1.5 units, minus 150. Just need the guy to win one round, and I think it's very much in play. I think this has split decision written all over it. Moving on, we got Israel Adesanya going against Nasruddin Imavov, and Adesanya is going to be the last leg of my Hail Mary parlay here. I like Adesanya. If this fight was a couple of years ago, I'd be max betting him here at minus 170. I don't think Imavov's going to wrestle here, and if he does, I don't think he's going to have success, and if he does, I actually think that's only going to hurt him, because I just don't think he has good cardio. We've seen him slow down in just so many fights. The Strickland fight clearly slowed down. We saw him slow down in the Williams fight, the Haas fight. I can go on and on. He's slowing down in every single fight he's in. Even in the Dolidze fight, he slowed down, but Dolidze was just as tired. So, yeah, I kind of see Imavov hanging in there early, being competitive early, but as the fight goes on, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, I think Adesanya starts to really put it on him and potentially even finish, late here in this fight, but probably a decision. So, yeah, I like Adesanya. I put his not his money line in my parlay, but I think the 4 or 5 decisions are a really good look. And I also, you can do the same game parlays, Adesanya parlayed with like the over 2.5. I think that's a good look as well. So yeah, Adesanya in the parlay. So let's go over that 4-leg parlay for this week. The first leg is going to be Adesanya to win and over 2.5 rounds at plus 115. I think that's a good look. I think it'll be competitive early on, and if Adesanya does get a finish, I expect it to be late. So that's the first leg, Adesanya and the over 2.5. I also don't mind like a 4 or 5 decision, same thing. Next leg is Muhammad Naimov, money line, minus 334. Just get the job done. I think it's by knockout, but if it goes to decision, I think he wins that as well. Next, we got Nurmagomedov to win on the money line, minus 163. I think he finishes, but yeah, could be a decision. Could be a knockout, could be a sub, but I think he gets his hand raised one way or another. And then the last leg is Terrence McKinney, under 1.5 rounds, minus 235. McKinney, 10 first round, or 10 unders in a row. I think that the trend continues. Other than that, got the Paige points handicap plus 3.5, 1.5 units, minus 150. Got the McKinney fight won't start round 2, minus 122, 1.25 units. McKinney sub 1, half a unit, plus 220. Nurmagomedov inside the distance, 0.75 units, plus 275. Mike Davis sub, half a unit, plus 550. Naimov KO, half a unit, plus 255. Bueno Silva sub, half a unit, plus 700. Jasudavicius round 2 and round 3, quarter unit on each. Round 2 plus 1,600, round 3 plus 2,000. So yeah, taking some shots on some plus money props, and then also laying some chalk here or there, like the Paige handicap I like, and the McKinney violence I like as well. So that's what I got for UFC Saudi Arabia. Best of luck, guys. If you guys could please do me a favor, like the video on your way out, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys are liking for this week, and then also check out dfsbythenumbers.com. It's the best way to support me, and it's the best way to find all my other content, doing a ton of content on there. Check it out at dfsbythenumbers.com. Best of luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.